So the next color correcting that we need to do with this project is on the red RED or R3D footage. And like I mentioned in class, that is the equivalent of shooting in camera raw in a digital photography world where all of the details are kept. There's a lot of dynamic exposure data in these files, and you're allowed to open it and tweak it and save it, and it basically has a tag along file that goes with it that tells it how to be interpreted. Just like when we do camera raw files, the data that we choose when we tweak it in camera raw before it goes to Photoshop, that file goes along with it in tandem and always makes it open the correct way. So we're going to give these red R3D files some distinct look, different from the documentary footage that they already recorded. So we're going to adjust the exposure and color contrast. So in our timeline, we're going to go way down to the R3D track, the music video raw 01. It happens to be, I looked at the time code, 22605, somewhere in there. So here's the clip. You can click to select it. And then we're going to right click on here and we're going to say reveal in project. So if your project bin wasn't open, it's going to switch to this tab. It's going to find the R3D folder and it's going to highlight this exact clip, which there we go. If we move that over, I can see that this is the raw 01 clip that we're working with. So this clip, we're going to right click on it here in the project, and we're going to go up to source settings. So right here, source settings. This is going to pop a new window, and this is a lot like camera raw when we bring photos into camera raw and tweak them. So don't freak out what we're seeing here. So the first thing we see is the actual image on this frame of what we're looking at. And then we have 4 histograms down here. We have the R, G, and the B, red, green, and blue. And then we also have the luminance, or luma, as they call it in here. To the right of that, we have our curves graph with 3 dots in it. These allow us to adjust the lows, midtones, and highlights of the luma, red, green, and blue color channels. So perhaps you remember back in Photoshop where we did color correcting channel by channel, tweaking reds, greens, and blues. At the top, we have presets. You can see as shot is what shows up here, but there are defaults and customs, and then you can save your own custom files. And you can save your color correction setting as red metadata, RMD files. That's like the XML files that Camera Raw makes that goes along with your Camera Raw photos in photography. Below that, we have some different things here. We have white balance, we have color settings, and if you pull this slider over here, you can see that we have curve settings, gamma, gain, all sorts of different things. So we're going to do a few things in here under our color settings. So in this zone, if it's not twirled open, twirl this open. The first thing that we want to do is make sure that the gamma curve is set to red gamma 3, and it is, so that's good. The next option is the ISO. So if you remember from photography, that speeds up, takes whatever light is there and digitally amplifies it. So we're going to crank our ISO up to 1600, and you can see how it got brighter and it also got grainier, which is kind of the effect that we're going for, kind of that older look. So faster exposed film. Then we are going to pull down here to the curve settings. So make sure you're in this area and make sure that the channel type right here is set to luma. So you can see there's the red, green, and blue, and then the overall luminosity. This is kind of the overall version. All right, since the lighting and exposure of this shot are fairly good to begin with, all we need to do is adjust the contrast on the luma as well as the red, green, and blue color channels independently. I'm having a hard time talking tonight. Lots of recording today. All right, so what we need to look at is all of these different options. And again, this is such a light version on this. If you're seriously into this and you want to better understand what all this is, you're going to have to dig into it a lot deeper. So we want to find lights Y. So notice right here it says lights Y. There's a slider and then there's a number. I'm going to click on the number and I'm going to enter 0.95. Notice on the curve it pulled it up here. And then I'm going to go darks Y, this one, and I'm going to change that number to be 0.15. And then if you hit tab, it accepts it. So you see how it took our curve, which was a straight line, and it kind of bent it into this general S shape. We've done that a lot where we open up the shadows and bring down the highlights a little. So that's a common task that we can do. So that changed the curve graphs. So if we wanted to, we could have gone right into here and started pulling on these dots instead of typing them in over here. So we're going to click the channel type menu. So we just changed it for the Luma, the overall. Now we're going to go in here and we're going to choose red, and we're going to do that same thing channel by channel. So lights Y, 0.95, darks Y, 0.15. Then we're going to, and I'm going to hit tab so it accepts that. Then we're going to go back to the green channel and do the same. Lights, 0.95, tab, darks Y, 0.15, tab. And notice how all these lines are coming together except for we haven't done blue yet. So now we're going to do blue, lights Y, 0.95, and darks Y, 0.15. Now all four of those have been pulled into the same shape, and our graph has changed quite a bit. So if we like this, and presumably we do, so we want to save this as a preset. So at the top right, we can see that we have Save Preset right here. We're going to click on that, and then we're going to give it a name. We're going to type in, I hate how they do this, but Poolside 01. So if we don't have enough things named like that, and then we're going to say, okay, we've saved our preset. Already exists on the disk. Huh. Yes, I do. Must have done this long ago. And then finally, to get out of this window, we're going to say, okay. So this is what it looked like, and now this is what it looks like. So it's much more dramatic. The colors are a lot different. All right. All right, now that we've made that preset, we can apply that to our other clips quite easily. So all of the remaining R3D clips were shot with the same camera under the same lighting conditions. So applying that same preset is going to work terrifically. So let's pop back over here to our project panel and twirl open your R3D. We've already tweaked the raw 01, but we want to select the other three. So I'm just going to marquee select the raw 02, the crew, and the dancers. With those all three selected, we're going to right click on any one of them and choose the source settings to get that same window to pop up. And then from the preset, we're going to choose the one that we made, the one called Poolside 01. And boom, look at that, it's all done. So it's been applied to all three clips, and we'll say okay. And we are done with that version of color correcting. So you can do a file and save your project at this point.